So let me take you on a little journey. I'm going to talk about an initiative in the Netherlands, Media Literacy Network. That's about a story of the travel of a teacher. Suppose you are a teacher in an Arcadian landscape. Where would you be heading to? What will your direction be? Are you going to talk to some outstanders there next to you? Are you heading for the horizon? What's your position in that? For everyone, it's different. And suppose you are in a dark forest. Will you freeze? Will you search for your flashlight? Will you scream? Also, it's different for everyone. If you have a goal during traveling, for instance, you're searching for fun or for excitement, like this guy, then it helps, of course, during traveling. And what also helps is the elastic cord, and the gravity helps also. And then you have some sort of navigation towards your goal. And when you're traveling through information, like here in the Monument in Belgium, I don't know if you know it, but it's a fabulous place, you can also find everything you want. And the storing and the recalling of information is daily business for every one of us. So every traveler has experience with that. And the amount of digital data that we find during our traveling is not to be expressed in our decimal counting system anymore. And it never was, actually, as is referred very creatively here by the Simpsons television series. And when we are traveling through the big data, and we are living in China, we get the concept of gamification in daily life is very obviously now, these days. And for ourselves, it will be the same here in the Western world. The social credit system in China will monitor your daily behavior in all aspects, and life is becoming a game. When you travel through online video, and we all do, of course, then you will discover, when you are a teacher or giving colleges and university, that one day you'll find a college room like this. Everyone is learning anywhere, like it was in the School of Athens in former days. It looks almost like the new workplace, actually, these days. And you could also say that flipping the classroom already existed in that years. The social media, during our travels, as a teacher, social media are very, very, very much influencing our behavior. When you look at the world of journalists, for instance, a big international survey found that the rules and the ethics for journalists are deeply influenced by the use of social media. The rules that were normal for in the old days of journalist work, journalist daily work, don't count anymore in the world of social media. So what does that mean for us as a traveler through information, a traveler through news? Can we still believe what a journalist is writing? Are we heading towards the Sodom and Gomorrah? Are we seeing what we are getting? The answer, of course, is no. When we travel through information on our laptops or on our smartphones, our behavior is being monitored. The consumer intelligence, the consumer tracking is doing its work. We're followed by massive amounts of companies, organizations, and we don't even know it. Most of the people don't know it. And companies are delivering all sorts of goods in a personalized way, and which means is that when you book a hotel in New York and you are an owner of very expensive products like Apple products or whatsoever, you're paying more for a hotel room. And most of the people don't even know that. So our landscape is more or less like this. You could call it dystopia or utopia, or however you call it, whatever you call it. is something to think about, of course. And in the end of your travel, or during your travel, you're also entering the world of youth, children. And then you will discover as a teacher that you're not all the time, or sometimes most of the time, not are connected very much to the world of children, the world of youth. The marketeers in this world also are very conscious of this fact and are irritated by it and looking for new connections and try to follow the world of the children. But the same goes for educators, of course. A lot of children in daily life build their own apps, websites, blogs. Even I know a lot of children who run their own businesses at 14 years old. But this doesn't count for every child, of course. It's already mentioned by David Buckingham. A lot of children, but also a lot of teachers, are perhaps media savvy, but not very media literate. And there you are standing as a teacher, and perhaps you sometimes feel as if you are in a game, like in the Hunger Games, for instance, and you're trying to survive in daily life, in your classroom, in your school, or in the Maze Runner. Wonderful movies that represent the world where we're living in an information age where we are sort of trying to survive in a competition. And to end this part of my story with the fabulous book of Dave Eggers, The Circle, in which he depicts a world that's totally determined by gamification and determined by control, total control. The world could look like this. But how far is this world? I mean, we're already living there, of course. So for teachers, it's more or less a situation that where to head to, how to use this world of new media and old media in daily life, in teaching children, in finding a new role. That was the big question in a project in the Netherlands. And how to bring, for instance, wonderful tools like Minecraft into the classroom in a media-literate way. And how to share all these experiences, because that was not really happening in a very constructive way yet. So there were a group of people in a network in the Netherlands who really, via grassroots method, started to think this through for the whole Dutch-speaking areas in the world. And there are some other countries, some other areas outside the Netherlands where also Dutch is the main language, like in Flanders, Belgium, and a series of islands in the Caribbean. And this was the focus of the project. There was a traveling team. In the left corner above you see the traveling captain, and he initiated this 2 years ago. And with all the people you see depicted, it's all to be seen online, of course. This is a co-creation project that started 2 years ago, and it was fabulous because there was hardly any budget. The budget grew a bit, of course, during the process, but there was not really a big budget. The network of media literacy, as is depicted here by the metro system way of representing, is in the Netherlands all typology of all sorts of organizations like civilians, media professionals, civil society, teachers, etc. And the traveling team, as I just showed, are all members of this network. So it was really spread out through the whole country, and they worked together as a virtual team. They made use of the wisdom of the crowd. They used the whole society, the whole network, to create this traveling guide. And what they actually did was aggregating the needs of the whole network in the Netherlands, on the one hand, but also looking what already was there in terms of media literate learning material on the other hand, and they matched it together. And they created filters, online filters. So filters for resources, tools, activities, and role models. 2 minutes. When we zoom in on activities, you see here a very large amount of activities, very useful to use in media literate lessons, or media literacy lessons, and using tools in a media literate way. So not only using all sorts of hip social media tools, but also in a media literate way. And that's different. Also, very interesting, the connection with audiovisual heritage. So the combination between a media literate way in using audiovisual heritage, tens of thousands of hours of audiovisual footage from the National Archives. The basis is a media literacy competencies system developed in the Netherlands. So it's also very anchored. And the actual guide consisted of a free book for all teachers, dynamic website, real-time support for the teams, social media support, and support implementation on the schools. The actual rollout has taken place in 2014 in the Netherlands, but it's still this year is coming in the other areas. And you see the question marks on the end because the team is also already working for an international rollout. So when anyone is interested, you can get in touch with them. And this is the end of my story, and I hope you get a bit inspired by this.